Hello everybody and welcome to another video here at Playing Board Games. It's Thursday, which means it's a list video, and today we have the 5 strongest Scarlet Keys player cards as voted by our community. So, this is something I like doing. We haven't done one of these for a while, but I love throwing a Google form to our community to be like, hey, fill this out, get your votes in for this video. And with this one, it was pretty simple. I just said, give me your top 3 player cards that you think are the strongest player cards in the Scarlet Keys. I gave no further definition than that. I did not say what strong meant. I just meant, in your opinion, what are the strongest 3 cards in the Scarlet Keys? This could be player cards. This could be player cards. This could be investigator cards. That kind of stuff. So I threw this out here. We got 65 responses for this first one. However, if you want to join in for the next one, there's a link down in the video description for you to join in on the next survey, which is going to be, I haven't decided what's set for, but it's going to be the same thing. It's like, I want your top 3 cards for one of the expansions that are currently out. So it's going to be fun. I'm going to do that again, and it's going to keep going through all of them. Again, I'm not adapting to this legacy or current environment yet for our content. We're still just going to be making content for both legacy and current. We're not adapting to either right now. We're just having fun talking about ARKHAM. So 5 cards. There were 2 easy front runners to this whole thing, and then there were 3 kind of dawdlers that were able to catch up the rear. So let's talk about our first one with 10 of 65 votes. So that means 10 of the 65 entries included Grim Memoir on this list. Now, that might sound kind of crazy, and it was kind of crazy when I was looking at these numbers, that Grim Memoir was only said by 10 of the 65 people, but that's how it goes. There was a lot of cards that were said by 1, 2, or 3 people, but there are some that float up to make a noticeable amount, which is Grim Memoir. Most of the other entries below this were like 7 at the most, usually like maybe 9 for like the next closest, but Grim Memoir beat them all out. Grim Memoir, 3 cost asset, takes up the hand slot, uses 4 secrets as an item and tome in the secret class, uses 4 secrets. As an action, spend 1 secret, investigate. You get +2 book for this investigation. If you succeed by 2 or more, you may draw 1 card. I'm not necessarily surprised to see this card here. I don't want to talk about any spoilers for what could be coming up in the next ones. Like, I don't want to say like, oh, I can't believe this beat out this card or that card. But I think that this was a card that makes sense for being a strong card. Number 1, it's a tome in the secret class, and there's a lot of synergy that exists there in the form of Abigail Foreman, in the form of Research Librarian, in the form of Ravenquill, which also came out in this set, and then, of course, in the form of Daisy Walker. This card, as it came out, gave Daisy, I think, a tome that was a little bit more competitive. It's not as competitive as Old Book of Lore. That card is kind of just insane in Daisy Walker, and it's like a Daisy Walker always plays Old Book of Lore because it's just so damn good in her. But Grim Memoir is an actual competitive slot, and it's one of those things where, like, I'm happy to be playing Grim Memoir. I'm happy to be playing Grim Memoir, but I'll still want to be doing the Old Book of Lore. But if, like, my hand is full and my teammates don't need anything, I'm happy to basically use the Grim Memoir as, like, a free investigate, perception, deduction type vibe in Daisy Walker, which is really nice. Outside of that, Grim Memoir actually sees play in a lot of other secret investigators as well. I really enjoy it in Harvey Walters because of, his extra card draw, so this allows him to draw 2 cards. But it's just like a very good rate for a level 0 card, so I wasn't surprised to see it here. I actually wanted to pull up so we could talk about some cards that were beaten by this as well. Just give me a second, I'm going to get that. But I think that this makes sense here for being where it is. Alright. There we go. So yeah, I can see. Alright, we could talk about some that just missed the mark at the end of the video. We can do that. Alright, but let's keep this going. So yeah, Grim Memoir, I think it makes sense here. There are some that I'm surprised it beat out looking through this here, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Let's go to number 4. With 12 of the 65 votes, we got Gurish Kadakia. Gurish is a 4-cost, 4-experience guardian asset with the ally and police traits. He soaks for 3 and 3, I'm pretty sure. I don't remember. And he may be assigned damage and a horror dealt to other investigators at your location. As a lightning bolt, during a skill test being performed by an investigator at your location, exhaust Gurish Kadakia. That investigator gets +2 skill value for this test. If this test is successful, heal 1 damage or horror for Gurish Kadakia. So it's really fun to do this a few years after Scarlet Keys came out. I think Scarlet Keys has been out for like now 2 years, the recording of this video, to kind of see what cards have risen up to the community, or at least our community sentiment of what are the most powerful cards. When Gurish was first spoiled, there were a lot of people saying that this guy is a powerful card. And honestly, he was. From the beginning to the game to now, Gurish Kadakia is powerful. He does cost 4 experience. And while experience does kind of grow on trees, it seemingly grows on trees less than it did before, which I'm not going to complain about. I'm not really upset that that's the case. But it's one of those things where, like, Gurish he's usually the thing you want to put in first or second. But then when he's in your deck, he's going to really bring the noise. What makes Gurish so powerful? To me, it's a pretty easy reason for why you can see it. He is Endless Soak that is also giving you Unexpected Courages. Unexpected Courages is in the form of the +2 skill value for this test. And then if you succeed, which you probably will, but you'd be surprised at how often you actually whiff with Gurish. It's one of those things where just like he is going to be like like an unlimited like battery for damage and horror that you or your teammates can take. There's a lot of really cool synergies with Gurish as well, because Carolyn and Vincent can both run him to great effect, allowing Carolyn to get resources while, you know, like passively getting resources while passing tests. It also gives Vincent Lee on the mends, which are very nice for just constant triggering of his ability, especially if you're building around the Secret Grizzly Totem. It's a very nice deck that you can play with Vincent Lee to get stuff done, and Gurish to just make it more consistent while also just getting like insane value in the process. But yeah, this guy's he's very powerful. There's Inspiring Presence upgrade that just came out in Drowned City that this guy's going to just be really nice in. And there's just like Trusted and so many other ally synergies that exist within Guardian that like it's no surprise to see Gurish here in the top 5. And 12% of the 12 of the votes, 12 of the 65 votes is a pretty alright number for this guy to get. Alright, let's go on to number 3 here with the third highest voted card. One of the 5 strongest. We got Shed a Light. So this is a 2-cost survivor event that's an insight and a trick. Fast. Play before revealing a chaos token during an investigation you're performing, and only if the difficulty of this test is currently 0. This test automatically succeeds. You discover 1 additional clue at this location and 1 additional clue at any other revealed location. That's, I'm pretty sure, what it says. With 13 of 65 of the votes, this was the last of the kind of not front runners, like the not obvious cards that were going to be winning this poll. But Shed a Light is a very powerful card. It was one of the cards from Scarlet Keys that was tabooed. The other one, of course, was Old Keyring 3. I think it's level 3. Yeah, because I think it costs 4 now. I think it was increased its experience. This thing now costs 2 experience. And this is something that I, when I was first talking about when Shed a Light, when I did my power ranking video for Scarlet Keys, I mentioned that the reason why Shed a Light was so good, maybe it wasn't during that video, but it was like during one of the other upcoming videos talking about Shed a Light, is just that the value that this card brings is kind of insane. It's surprisingly easy to reduce shroud value and difficulty of a test to 0, and that doesn't even necessarily mean you have to be Daryl Simmons to do it. And that's kind of like why this card, I think, did end up being so powerful. It's not necessarily just because Daryl Simmons played it very well. If Daryl Simmons played this card very well, I think that that would just have lived that way, and it'd be just like, yes, this is a powerful card in Daryl, and you're going to want to take it in Daryl. But the problem is that everything around it made this card very versatile in pretty much any survivor that wanted to run it, even if you had low book. And the main reason for that is because when you are reducing value of a test, you don't care what your book score is, right? So you're able to get there with a variety of tricks. Most commonly, just with a flashlight or old keyring, even the level 0 version, right? Like even in a splash, like if you would just have like some shroud reduction, this card had enough value at level 0 that you really wanted to put it in your deck. Like you really, really did. Notably, this would have made my list of top 5 strongest Scarlet Key cards. We're talking about like without Taboo. With Taboo, obviously this card is more in line. But like the reason why this card is so powerful is because it is the payoff to an archetype. Normally, you'll see the payoff to an archetype be at experience levels, and that allows them to be pretty powerful and also be a good, fulfilling payoff to an archetype. So you kind of see this in like Chemistry Set versus the Antikythera, right? Chemistry Set is I think it's a very strong card, right? But it's unreliable and you need to build around it to get it better. And Antikythera is like the same card but no downside. And it's passive. And it's just like all things better than what Chemistry Set is, right? If there was like a level 0 version of this effect, which was just like before revealing chaos tokens, if the test you're performing is currently 0, just like this test automatically succeeds, that would make this card seem less over the top, right? But because it had such an incredible payoff, like even if the level 0 version was just the same text, but didn't have the additional clue from any other location, and then there was like an upgraded version that had an additional location, it probably would have been like less like, whoa, what the heck's going on here? But like this was a very strong card for level 0 because it was the payoff to the archetype. And getting to have that in your level 0 deck meant that you just got to like take more advantage of it. And then of course Survivor has event recursion, and like that is pretty disgusting what we were able to do with this card. It was like one of those things where instead of bringing back things like Sharp Vision or Brute Force or Lucky 3 with your Resourceful Sorry, you would be like, I think I'm going to grab Shed a Light instead. So I think this is a really good one for top 3. Again, I think there's some powerful cards that didn't make the top 5, but I do think that Shed a Light should definitely be up here, so I'm not too shocked about that one. All right. And again, I'm going to go over the cards that missed it as we get deeper in. Let's go to number 2, which is Runic Axe with 28 out of 65 votes. Do you see what I mean? Shed a Light got 13 of 65. 28 of the people who filled out this survey said that Runic Axe was one of the 3 strongest cards. So like there was a big difference. Let me just scoot myself over here. Wow, because I got this for you. The Runic Axe customizable card. Let's read it, shall we? Runic Axe is a 4-cost customizable card, takes up 2 hand slots in the Guardian class. It's an asset, item, weapon, melee. It uses 4 charges. Replenish one of these charges at the start of each round. As an action, fight. You get +1 fist for this attack. Before this attack, you may spend any number of charges to imbue the axe with that many different inscriptions. Accuracy. You get +2 fist for this attack. Power. This attack deals +1 damage. Now, let's get to the customizable upgrades, shall we? Which have been tabooed as well. But I think it's just like, I don't even know. I think maybe Hunt is 1 extra XP when we get there. Heirloom, 1 box. This asset gets -1 cost and gains the Relic trait. Inscription of Glory. Add this inscription, Glory. If the attack defeats an enemy, choose 1, draw 1 card, heal 1 damage, or heal 1 horror. Inscription of the Elders. Add this inscription. This is also 1 box. Elders. If this attack succeeds by the amount equal to or greater than your location's shroud, discover 1 clue at your location. Inscription of the Hunt for 1 box. Add this inscription, Hunt. Immediately move to a connecting location or engage an enemy at your location. Inscription of Fury for 1 box. Add this inscription, Fury. If this attack is successful, in addition to its standard damage, deal 1 damage to each other enemy engaged with you. Ancient Power for 3 boxes. You may imbue the same inscription up to 3 times. Saga. Replenish for 3 boxes. Replenish 2 of the Runic Axe charge at the start of each round instead of only 1. And then Script Weaver. For every charge spent, you may imbue the axe with the 2 different inscriptions. So, I think Runic Axe is a very interesting weapon because it is incredibly powerful. It's a very powerful card with a very powerful effect. But I do think that the floor on this card actually is pretty low, all things considered. I have heard stories of people bringing this card into like 4-player games and then running out of charges at level 0. And then it's like, my weapon doesn't actually do anything, and I was told that this card is very powerful. And it is very powerful, but it's powerful because of its build flexibility. Like, while I think, for example, Cyclopean Hammer, a card that is probably going to be in the top 3 of the Edge of the Earth video, but the Edge of the Earth video is it's a very strong set. Cyclopean Hammer just deals more damage. That's what it does. It's very consistent on that. It is a very, very even floor and a very even ceiling. Like, it's kind of like this, you know, like, this is like the low end, this is the high end, and it's very high on the scale. Runic Axe is kind of like more like this, right? Where, like, its floor is lower, but its ceiling, I think, is slightly higher than Cyclopean Hammer, just through the things that you're able to build around for it, especially if you know the campaign, especially if you know your investigator, especially if you know your deck. I was not surprised to see Runic Axe in the top 2. This card is very powerful. And that's not even talking about the inscription of the Hunt inscription, which was tabooed to believe 2 boxes, so it costs 2 experience now, which I think is a much better space for this card to be in. But it's one of those things where being able to move and then fight an enemy is disgusting, and it was something that I think they underestimated, and by they I mean the designers, underestimated just how powerful an effect like that is for players to be able to take advantage of. There is something to be said that you kind of need to at least have Saga in order to make this really start working. I usually do Saga and Scriptweaver, or Scriptweaver and Ancient Power. So that does mean you need to get 7 experience in this weapon for it to start doing its damage, like at the level that you want it to. Luckily, there are a lot of events to help kind of mitigate that, but it's one of those things that I think is the very thing that makes Runic Axe interesting. Again, it has a lower floor, but that's just because I do think that this card is... its power is its versatility and the different builds that you can do with it, which is what makes it so strong. Like, do you want to be able to heal, right? Do you want to be able to get clues? Do you want to, I've done so many different builds with Runic Axe, and it's powerful for very different reasons, which is, like, I think why this card is so powerful. And why I also view it as, like, stronger. If you put a gun to my head and you were like, Justin, what's stronger, Runic Axe or Cyclopean Hammer? First off, please don't do that. Please don't do that to me. Like, if I ever attend a convention, please don't hold a gun to my head and ask me that question. But second off, I would say Runic Axe. And the reason that I just think that the ceiling is notable, and it's something that I cannot forget about seeing that ceiling. I do think Cyclopean Hammer is a very powerful card. I'm not going to try to take that away from it. But I think it is... I think this card is... It would definitely be in my top 3 as well. I think Runic Axe would definitely be in my top 3. It's, like I said, it's my number 1 Guardian weapon, so it better be in my top 3 of Scarlet Keys, otherwise that means there's some really powerful cards in this set. Alright, back to the middle of the screen. Alright, let's go to our final card here. Number 1 with 34% of the votes. So what, half of 65 is what, like 32 and a half? So more than half of the people voted for Dirty Fighting as being one of the 3 strongest cards in Scarlet Keys. Dirty Fighting is a 3-cost, 2 experience rogue asset. It's a talent, trick, and illicit. Limit 1 per investigator while attacking, parlaying, or attempting to evade an exhausted enemy. You get +2 skill value. As a reaction, after you evade an enemy, exhaust Dirty Fighting, take a fight action against that enemy. Ignore the aloof keyword for this attack. So, I'm going to just get my own opinion out of the way first before I analyze our community's votes on this one. And my opinion is that I think this card is powerful and versatile, and I think it's very good for what it did for the rogue class, and also not necessarily making, like, for example, Tony Morgan stronger. It just made, like, rogues generally stronger to kind of keep up with Tony Morgan. I do not think this would be my number 1 strongest card from Scarlet Keys. I think it's a powerful card, but I think there are more stronger cards in here. I'm not going to say what those are because I'm a content creator. That's a whole other video I can do in a year from now, so I'm going to hold that a little bit close to my chest. Today all we have is the community votes for this. So now let's get into analyzing this as the strongest card as voted by our community. What makes Dirty Fighting so strong? Yes, that extra action to take the reaction to take an extra action to fight an enemy is a very powerful effect, right? And then you also are able to trigger all your evade triggers that come with it. But this card also has that additional text that's right in the middle between the limit 1 per investigator and the reaction ability, which is, while attacking, parlaying, or attempting to evade an exhausted enemy, you get +2 skill value. So, like Gurish, you get an unexpected courage, which is kind of like the value line that we see for where these experienced effects want to live, for the skill value boost that they want to give you. And this is not to be to not be forgotten about. When I said earlier that this card helps make other rogues stronger in their ability to fight, it's the reason that not all rogues have 5 Fist. Not all rogues were designed to be able to fight with 5 Fists. Their guns were designed to be a little bit kind of a hoop you had to jump through in order to take full advantage of their abilities, right? And unfortunately, that was not really how it worked out. And then Tony Morgan came, and then Tony Morgan said, I am the god, and you are all, like, just groveling at my feet, right? But Dirty Fighting has allowed other rogue investigators, or for example Rita Young, to be able to take advantage of this card to, while not hit the same highs as Tony Morgan, allowed them to be more consistent in what they were doing. And it's actually funny how this card continues to just be so incredibly versatile for what it does for builds, because even like the parlaying matters. Alessandra comes out in the next set, right? She cares about parlaying, so this was a great plant for that. Evading matters. Kaimani Jones, right? Also, there's going to be like that new the string along, or the play along, the string along, I think, from Drown City, that is like another card that this is going to like just have some quiet synergies with. I think this is a very, very powerful card, and I'm not surprised to see it as #1 here, because it has had the most impact on the collection, I think, like on the player card pool. But I don't think, again, for me personally, that makes it the strongest. But I'm not here to judge or disagree with the community. Like I said, I think this makes sense, and I think this is a very good #1 pick. So, what cards just missed the cut? Some other notable ones that I've highlighted in green on this spreadsheet. At a Crossroads got 8 votes. And again, Grim Memoir got 10, so 10 is the cutoff we were looking at. Old Keyring got 7. Thieves Kit got 8, and Underworld Market got 5. So those were like the other ones that got like a normal, like an above. I think my cutoff was 5 for like when I started to actually like highlight the cards. So at a Crossroads, which was cheekily in the thumbnail, I know I clickbaited you. Old Keyring, Thieves Kit, and Underworld Market. Yeah. Gumption and Carson were close. Charlie Kane was close. They each had 4. All 3 of those had 4. Living Ink had 3. One in the Chamber had 3. Power Word, Vincent Lee, Friends in Low Places, Fingerprint Kit all had 2. Breach the Door, Breaking and Entering, Bestow Resolve had 2s. And then we had a bunch of 1s in there. So, actually, let me just... there are also some comments. Is here any thoughts you wanted to add? These may be featured in the video. Clue dropping and then take off as one is suspected. I think that's a very fair call. Runic Axe is a great weapon and also broken. Dirty Fighting is one of the best designed cards in the entire game. I agree. I don't think it's, like I said, I don't think it's necessarily the strongest, but I do think it is a very, very powerful card. Yeah. Runic Axe is the best weapon in the game. Difficulty 0 is a dangerous archetype, and Old Keyring 3 is the strongest part of it by far. I think that's a very interesting point. I personally don't think Old Keyring 3 is the strongest part of it. I do actually legitimately think it's Shed a Light. But I think the reason why Old Keyring 3 was so powerful was because of scavenging, right? Scavenging, I think, is what really made that card, that archetype. Well, it made Old Keyring very prominent, and now you remove scavenging from those decks because it also was tabooed, and you find that you actually don't need to trigger that many Old Keyrings if you actually just keep triggering your Shed a Lights, and like the value is even better there. This person just said, have a great day. Someone said, map the area, the goat, but notably they did not vote for it. One in the Chamber, yeah, someone voted is incredibly efficient. I think One in the Chamber is a nice card. I don't think it wouldn't be in my top 5. At a Crossroads gives the survivors much needed card draw power to 0 resource cost. It's never a dead draw thanks to the extra action option addition. I think Auto Crossroads is a very interesting card. I personally don't find it to be an auto include, but I never blink when someone's includes it. But that's mostly, again, because I'd rather spend that action that I lost to draw 3 cards to like draw a card actively while also winning the game. So it's like, again, shows the variety that shows like the variety that this card pool in this game is able to bring for people and how they approach things, which is one of those things. Hi, Justin. Thanks for your content. Hey, person. Thanks for your vote. Okay. Thanks for watching, everybody. Again, you can find the next survey for this down in the video description. So if you want to join in and be a part of the next video, definitely go do that. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Thank you to everyone who has filled out this survey for this video. I was very excited to see all your results. I'm a big guy where I like to see like other people's opinions, and I feel very lucky that I get to do this. So I'm very excited that I get to do it again for the next one. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching, everybody. Have a good one, and as always, a GG's.